No, this isn't a thumbnail, but, well, that's the topic of today's video, although it wouldn't be a bad one if, well, this actually was one, right? No, but seriously, I mean, before you make anything on YouTube, before you have success, you have to recognize that having phenomenal thumbnails is incredibly important. So what are those trends? How can you identify them? What can you use them for? How can you actually make your thumbnails better and actually get more views? Why don't we just dive into the computer, go to the trending tab, and go and check out some of the biggest YouTubers on the planet and see if we can notice some patterns. See if we can see some consistencies around what is working, and maybe you can identify some of those trends now that you're watching attentively. Let's dive in. Now, before I get to those 5 trends, let me share one quick tip. Plan your titles and thumbnails. You see, the biggest YouTubers on the planet have found a way to be able to do this kind of like second nature. I mean, somebody like a David Dobrik literally in his videos will mention, oh, that's gonna make a perfect thumbnail. And he doesn't always have that plan necessarily, but the stunts that he pulls and the thumbnails are very well preconceived. They understand that by doing this in a video, that they're going to get the facial reactions or the trends that we see in powerful thumbnails. So plan ahead of time. It's really helpful. So if we end up on the YouTube trending page, what can we observe? What can we see that is, well, consistently showing up time and time again? So trend number 1. Let's dive in. Contrast is huge. And what do I mean by that? Well, look at the picture right over here. Look at this before and after of somebody who does drag makeup. Or think about the before and after of how to properly unrust something like this video is doing. I mean, the satisfaction that you get and the contrast of that transformation is appealing. You want to know how they did it. It spikes a certain amount of curiosity in you that says, oh, wait, what? How did that happen? I really want to find out. Click. And that contrast helps dramatically. Now, contrast can also be done in just the visuals of colors, using 2 colors in a very powerful way, putting one person on the other side, or doing a versus like Epic Rap Battle has done for so many times. Having that contrast could be massive, and bright and colorful imagery very much helps. For trend number 2, so I'm going to look specifically at David Dobrik and Pewdiepie. You notice something here? Look at video number 2 over here and video number 3. Why is that face the same as that face, just flipped? What about this face over here and that face over there and this one and this one? What about this one, this one, this one, this one, and all of them? Have you noticed how he is reusing very expressive emotions to communicate a message? Because, well, at the end of the day, we watch videos to experience and live vicariously through the video to experience those emotions. So high contrast and expressive emotions is incredibly important. And that's what trend number 2 is. Now, I think he stole this from Pewdiepie. I mean, Pewdiepie is the king of this. He literally in his videos talked about, I'm gonna use the same thumbnail picture over and over and over again and see what happens. And you can see that those facial expressions and those huge expressive emotions are very, very, very powerful. Now, if you don't think that that's a good trend and you don't know who Pewdiepie is, he literally has 104 million subscribers. So I'm pretty sure he figured something out with the YouTube algorithm.
You know what? From now on, this is going to be my thumbnail for every video. Because that's how I feel inside when I make this thumbnail. It's so awful. It's so cringy. I like this David Dobrik one as well. Just mirror the image.
He's literally doing it over and over and over again. And it's because it works. Now, trend number 3 is use the likeliness of the faces in a video thumbnail. People who are known. Now, obviously, if something is going viral in the world today, if Donald Trump said something, using his face in the thumbnail is really, really helpful. Philip DeFranco, to me, is the king of using faces in his thumbnails. People who are in the news that day. And therefore, anybody who's searching that topic that day and sees that face says, I wondered what DeFranco has to say about this situation. He always has a good take. And so the consistency of the thumbnail makes his videos recognizable, but it also takes the recognizable faces and makes his videos be seen so that he becomes recognizable. That's how he's grown to over 6.41 million subs and is consistently making a career off of YouTube. To be honest, he might as well be a thumbnail artist as much as he is a YouTuber, in my personal opinion. Trend number 4, honestly, you can look all across YouTube. I'll go to Pewdiepie because he does it a lot too. He puts in big, bold text. Text that's meant to entice, but complement the title. Not necessarily replicate the title, which actually, by the way, I make the mistake of doing. Oops. It's using big, bold text to stand out with bright colors that entices people to click. I also love another channel by a friend of mine, Charlie Hooper, who runs Charisma on Command. He's a perfect example of this big, bold text format. I mean, here it is. Recognizable face, big, bold text, nice, bright colors. Perfect trend. In fact, I'll even add that he adds the arrow, which is very, very, very common. You've seen the circle, a little circle over a part of the thumbnail. Those are all good trends to add. These are little design details, literally done by amateur Photoshop that make a huge difference. And finally, there's trend number 5, which is that if you want to be seen as outstanding and have outstanding click-through rates, which is clearly important when it comes to the YouTube algorithm and getting views, making outrageous, stand-out thumbnails is incredibly important. Now, of course, Mr. Beast is the absolute king when it comes to doing stuff like this. He picks topics that, of course, make good thumbnails. He uses all the bright colors, arrows, circles, bold font, big expressive faces, and all the other trends, and combines them all into the perfect thumbnail. There is nobody better than Mr. Beast at doing this, and this is why he's getting millions of views on every single video. He's the fastest, or at least one of the fastest growing YouTubers and creators out there, and it's incredible what he's been able to do with very simple concepts, executed well, long view times, and a bunch of other stuff that are really helpful for the algorithms. Most importantly, in my personal opinion, phenomenal titling. Thumbnails. So what are you thinking about when it comes to these trends and thumbnails? What are you actually clicking? Think about that. Who are you following that's doing a really good job? And are you actually doing a really good job? Can you improve? Can you incorporate some of these into your own YouTube channel? I think you can. I think it's worth it. Now, trend number 5 really makes me think of a video that I saw by Veritasium, who was informed by Mr. Beast on how he consistently goes viral and how he uses titles and thumbnails specifically to really drive home the click and actually drive some traffic to his channel. Now, Veritasium talks about science, and let's just be real, not everyone is really interested in learning about science on YouTube. But by having the right title and thumbnail, he was able to amass an enormous amount of interest and clicks and grow his channel and that video enormously. So, well, let's roll the tape on that video.
All these different YouTubers talk about how they optimize a thumbnail. Many people told me that when they were working on a thumbnail for a new video, they would actually Photoshop it onto a screenshot of their current YouTube home screen in various positions and just see how eye-catching it was. They're really working hard to make these thumbnails as clickable as possible. It's like weaponizing the thumbnail. And that arms race is only set to increase with the introduction of real-time click-through rate, which is coming out in a month or 2. So what you can bet will happen is that creators will launch a video and then they'll be sitting there with all these different variants of thumbnails and they'll be swapping them out and looking at what that does to click-through rate and then going with the one that leads to the greatest click-through rate. And you can imagine if you don't do this, you're going to be left behind.
If all of these huge YouTubers are using facial expression pictures in their thumbnails time and time again to continuously elicit an emotion and get a response from the viewers, then why don't I just go and do a photo shoot? Why don't I just take the time once to really properly capture a range of emotions through a photo shoot, turn those into thumbnail templates, and have them ready at the go so I don't have to always think about making the thumbnail each and every time I make a video. Actually, wait, why don't I do that right now? But you didn't think I was gonna do that in this video, right? That's why you had to hit that like and subscribe button because, well, that's the next video if you hadn't guessed it. I'll see you in the next one. Hit that bell, hit that subscribe. I'll see you over there. See you later, superheroes.